Every morning, before the world even begins to move, a quiet battle is already taking place inside your mind. It is the battle between discipline and comfort, clarity and distraction, purpose and drift. Most people lose this battle before they even get out of bed. They wake up, reach for their phone, scroll through noise, and surrender the direction of their day to whatever appears on the screen. Yet the Stoic philosophers believed that the first moments of the morning determine the quality of the entire day. They treated the morning not as a casual beginning, but as a sacred moment of mental preparation. For them, waking up was not simply opening their eyes. It was stepping onto the battlefield of life with awareness. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal that when you wake up in the morning, you must remind yourself that you are rising to perform the work of a human being. This statement is simple, but its meaning is profound. According to Stoicism, every day we wake up with a responsibility to live according to reason, virtue, and purpose. The morning is the moment when you decide whether you will live intentionally or drift aimlessly through the hours ahead. The disciplined mind understands that success is not built in dramatic moments of inspiration, but in quiet moments of preparation. Most people believe discipline begins with action. They think it begins when you start working, exercising, or studying. But Stoic thinkers saw things differently. They believe discipline begins in thought. The first conversation you have each morning is the one you have with yourself. Before you even speak to another person, your mind is already telling a story. It might say the day will be difficult. It might say you are tired. It might say you deserve comfort instead of effort. If you do not control this internal dialogue, it will control you. This is why Stoics placed enormous importance on the first thoughts of the morning. They trained themselves to greet the day with awareness instead of impulse. Instead of complaining about the obligations ahead, they reminded themselves that challenges are opportunities to practice strength. Instead of fearing discomfort, they welcomed it as a teacher. This shift in perspective transforms the morning from a burden into a training ground for character. Consider how powerful this mental shift can be. When most people wake up, they ask themselves a subtle but dangerous question. How can I make today easier? The Stoic asks a very different question. How can I make myself stronger today? That single difference changes everything. One mindset seeks comfort, the other seeks growth. One weakens the mind over time, while the other sharpens it. Morning discipline begins with recognizing that your mind will naturally resist effort. Human nature prefers comfort, distraction, and immediate pleasure. The Stoics did not deny this reality. Instead, they trained themselves to confront it directly. When Marcus Aurelius struggled to get out of bed, he reminded himself that he was not born to hide under blankets, but to contribute to the world. He understood that purpose demands effort. This is the first Stoic rule of morning discipline. Do not negotiate with comfort. The moment you start negotiating with laziness, you have already lost valuable time and energy. Your mind begins creating excuses. It says 5 more minutes will not matter. It says you can start tomorrow. It says you deserve rest. But discipline grows when you act before these excuses become stronger. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, taught that freedom begins when you stop being controlled by your impulses. According to him, the greatest form of slavery is not physical chains, but the inability to command your own mind. If you cannot control your reactions, your habits, and your thoughts, then external circumstances will always control your life. The morning is the perfect place to practice this control. When you wake up and immediately choose discipline, you send a powerful message to your mind. You prove that comfort does not command you. You prove that excuses do not lead you. You establish authority over your own behavior. Over time, this small act becomes the foundation of a powerful mindset. Imagine 2 people starting the same day. One wakes up slowly, checks notifications, absorbs negativity from social media, and allows distractions to shape the morning. The other wakes up with intention, reminds themselves of their purpose, and begins the day with focus. By noon, these 2 people are living completely different realities, even though the day began in the same way. This is why Stoics viewed the morning as a form of mental training. Just as athletes warm up their bodies before competition, Disciplined thinkers prepare their minds before facing the world. They review their goals, remind themselves of their values, and mentally rehearse the challenges they may encounter. Preparation reduces emotional chaos. When you expect obstacles, they do not surprise you. When you expect difficult people, their behavior does not disturb you. When you expect discomfort, it no longer feels like an enemy. Instead, it becomes part of the process. The Stoics understood something modern psychology now confirms. The mind performs best when it begins the day with intention rather than reaction. If you allow external forces to dictate your mental state, you will constantly feel scattered and reactive. But when you deliberately shape your mindset at the start of the day, you carry stability with you into every situation. Morning discipline is not about perfection, it is about direction. Some days you will feel motivated, and other days you will feel resistant. Stoicism does not require you to feel strong every morning. It only requires you to act with strength, regardless of how you feel. This is the deeper lesson behind Stoic morning practice. You do not wait for the perfect mood to begin your day. You create the mindset you need through deliberate thought and action. Over time, this practice transforms your relationship with discipline. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once felt forced becomes automatic. And slowly, the quiet battle of the morning begins to change. Instead of fighting against yourself every day, you begin to train your mind to stand on your side. The Stoics believed that the person who wins the morning often wins the day. Not because mornings are magical, but because they set the tone for everything that follows. When the mind begins the day with clarity, strength, and intention, it carries that momentum forward. And that momentum becomes the foundation of a disciplined life. If you want, I can now continue with the Stoic morning ritual that builds mental strength. The Stoics believed that a disciplined life does not happen by accident. It is built through deliberate daily practices that strengthen the mind over time. Just as a body becomes strong through repeated exercise, the mind becomes disciplined through consistent training. For the Stoics, the morning was the most powerful time to begin this training. It was a moment when the world was still quiet, distractions were minimal, and the mind could be shaped before chaos entered the day. Many people wake up and immediately allow external forces to control their thoughts. Notifications, news, messages, and social media begin directing attention in 100 different directions. Without realizing it, the mind becomes reactive before the day has even begun. The Stoics warned against this habit because it weakens mental independence. A mind that constantly reacts to external stimuli becomes scattered and easily disturbed. Instead, Stoic philosophers practiced what we might call a mental ritual. It was not about superstition or rigid tradition. It was a deliberate set of reflections designed to prepare the mind for reality. By beginning the day with clear thinking, they strengthened their ability to remain calm, focused, and resilient throughout the day. One of the most famous Stoic thinkers, Seneca, often emphasized the importance of reflection as a tool for self-mastery. He believed that a person who does not examine their mind is easily controlled by emotion and impulse. For Seneca, the disciplined individual was someone who could pause, reflect, and guide their thoughts, rather than being dragged around by them. The Stoic morning ritual often began with a simple but powerful act: conscious awareness. When you first wake up, instead of rushing into activity, you pause for a moment and become aware of the fact that a new day has begun. This might seem insignificant, but it has a profound psychological effect. It interrupts the automatic rush of thoughts and creates space for intention. In that moment of awareness, the Stoics would remind themselves of a few essential truths about life. First, they reminded themselves that the day ahead would not be perfect. There would be delays, frustrations, misunderstandings, and unexpected problems. Most people hope their day will be free from difficulty, but Stoics believe this expectation leads to disappointment and anger. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius famously wrote that when you wake up in the morning, you should prepare yourself to meet people who may be selfish, impatient, arrogant, or rude. At first, this may sound pessimistic, but the purpose was actually the opposite. By expecting imperfection, the Stoics protected their peace of mind. When you anticipate challenges, they lose their ability to shock you. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond rationally. Instead of feeling personally attacked, you recognize that human behavior is often driven by ignorance, fear, or misunderstanding. This mindset creates emotional stability that most people never experience. Another part of the Stoic morning ritual involved reconnecting with purpose. The Stoics believed that every person has a role to play in the world. Whether someone is a teacher, a worker, a parent, or a leader, they have responsibilities that contribute to society. When you begin the day by remembering your role, ordinary tasks gain meaning. This idea was especially important to Epictetus, who taught that fulfillment does not come from controlling external events, but from performing your role with excellence. You may not control the circumstances of the day, but you always control the quality of your response. By reminding yourself of your purpose each morning, you align your actions with your values. Work becomes more than a series of obligations. It becomes an opportunity to practice discipline, patience, honesty, and resilience. The Stoics also practiced mental visualization as part of their morning routine. They would briefly imagine situations that might challenge their patience or discipline. Perhaps a project might become difficult, a colleague might disagree with them, or something unexpected might disrupt their plans. By mentally rehearsing these scenarios, they trained themselves to respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. Modern psychologists call this technique mental rehearsal, and it is widely used by athletes and performers. But Stoic philosophers understood its power thousands of years ago. When the mind rehearses challenges in advance, it becomes less vulnerable to stress when those challenges actually occur. Another key element of the Stoic morning ritual was gratitude. The Stoics recognized that life is unpredictable and fragile. Every day is a gift that can disappear at any moment. By remembering this truth, they cultivated appreciation for simple things, the opportunity to think, to act, to contribute, and to experience the world. Gratitude strengthens discipline because it shifts your attention away from what is missing and toward what is already present. Instead of complaining about what you lack, you become motivated to use what you have wisely. This mindset encourages responsibility and purpose. The final part of the Stoic morning ritual was commitment. After reflecting on challenges, purpose, and gratitude, the Stoics would mentally commit themselves to living according to their principles. They reminded themselves that they would act with patience even when frustrated, remain calm when others lost control, and focus on what they could control rather than complaining about what they could not. This commitment was not about achieving perfection. The Stoics knew that mistakes were inevitable. The goal was not flawless behavior, but continuous improvement. Every morning was another opportunity to practice wisdom and strengthen character. Over time, this ritual transformed the way Stoics experienced daily life. While others were easily disturbed by events, Stoics developed an inner stability that allowed them to remain focused and composed. Their calmness was not accidental. It was the result of consistent mental preparation. The beauty of the Stoic morning ritual is its simplicity. It does not require special tools, expensive programs, or complex systems. It only requires a few minutes of deliberate thought. Yet those few minutes can shape the entire direction of the day. When you begin your morning with awareness instead of distraction, reflection instead of impulse, and purpose instead of confusion, your mind becomes stronger. Challenges that once felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable. Situations that once triggered frustration become opportunities for practice. This is how discipline is built in the Stoic tradition. Not through sudden bursts of motivation, but through small daily practices repeated consistently over time. Every morning becomes a training ground for the mind, and the person who trains their mind each morning slowly becomes someone the world cannot easily shake. One of the most powerful principles in Stoic philosophy is surprisingly simple. Focus only on what you can control. At first glance, this idea seems obvious. Yet in daily life, most people spend enormous amounts of energy worrying about things completely outside their control. They worry about other people's opinions, unpredictable events, future outcomes, and circumstances that may never even happen. This constant mental struggle drains attention, weakens discipline, and creates unnecessary anxiety. The Stoics recognized this problem thousands of years ago. They observe that many people suffer not because of events themselves, but because of the way they think about those events. When the mind tries to control things it cannot influence, it becomes frustrated and restless. This is why Stoic philosophers believe that mental discipline begins with understanding a clear distinction. Some things are within your control, and some things are not. This idea was explained most clearly by the Greek Stoic teacher Epictetus. He taught that certain things always belong to us, our judgments, choices, attitudes, and actions. These are the areas where true freedom exists. At the same time, many things do not belong to us, including other people's opinions, external events, reputation, and even the final outcome of our efforts. Once you understand this distinction, your entire approach to life changes. Instead of trying to control everything, you direct your energy toward the few things that truly belong to you. This shift creates clarity and calmness because your mind is no longer fighting battles it cannot win. Consider how most people begin their day. They worry about whether others will approve of them. They worry about whether their plans will go perfectly. They worry about unpredictable circumstances that might disrupt their progress. These worries feel important, but they are often directed toward things outside their influence. The Stoic approach is different. A disciplined mind asks a simple question: is this within my control? If the answer is yes, then it deserves your effort and attention. If the answer is no, then worrying about it only weakens your peace of mind. For example, imagine you are preparing for an important project or meeting. You cannot control how others will react, how they will interpret your ideas, or what final decision they might make. But you can control your preparation, your focus, your honesty, and the quality of your effort. Stoic discipline means dedicating yourself fully to these controllable elements and accepting that the outcome itself belongs partly to fate. This mindset removes a heavy psychological burden. When people attach their happiness to results they cannot fully control, they live in constant tension. Success brings temporary relief, but failure brings deep frustration. The Stoics believed that a wiser approach is to measure success by effort rather than outcome. The Roman philosopher Seneca frequently warned that chasing external validation leads to a restless mind. When your happiness depends on reputation or approval, you become a prisoner of other people's opinions. Every criticism feels like an attack, and every compliment becomes something you fear losing. But when you focus on what you can control, your actions, character, and discipline, you reclaim your independence. Your sense of worth no longer rises and falls with external events. Morning is the perfect time to remind yourself of this Stoic rule. As you begin the day, your mind naturally starts imagining possibilities. Some of these thoughts will involve things you cannot influence. You might worry about how someone will treat you, whether circumstances will go wrong, or whether unexpected obstacles will appear. Instead of letting these thoughts grow stronger, the Stoic practice is to gently redirect your attention. Ask yourself what truly belongs to you today. The answer will always include your effort, your attitude, your focus, and your integrity. These are the areas where discipline has real power. By concentrating on these elements, you simplify the complexity of life. Problems that once felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable because you are no longer trying to control everything. You are simply doing your part with excellence. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius practiced this mindset constantly while leading one of the largest empires in history. Despite having immense authority, he understood that even an emperor cannot control every outcome. Wars, natural disasters, political conflicts, and human behavior were often unpredictable. Instead of becoming overwhelmed, Marcus Aurelius focused on controlling his own response. In his writings, he repeatedly reminded himself that his duty was not to guarantee perfect outcomes, but to act with wisdom, fairness, and discipline in every situation. This lesson is just as relevant today as it was in ancient Rome. Modern life constantly presents situations that feel chaotic and unpredictable. News cycles, social media debates, workplace pressures, and personal challenges can easily overwhelm the mind. If you try to control all of these forces, you will quickly exhaust your mental energy. Stoic discipline offers a different path. It teaches you to narrow your focus to what truly belongs to you. When you do this, your mind becomes calmer and more effective. Instead of reacting emotionally to every external event, you develop the ability to respond thoughtfully. Another important benefit of this mindset is resilience. When your happiness depends only on things within your control, external setbacks lose much of their power. A delayed plan, a failed attempt, or criticism from others may still be unpleasant, but it does not destroy your sense of stability. You simply ask yourself whether you acted with discipline and integrity. If the answer is yes, then the outcome does not diminish your progress. This perspective creates a powerful form of confidence. It is not the fragile confidence that depends on constant success. Instead, it is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever happens. Every morning when you begin the day with this Stoic rule in mind, you train your mind to focus on action rather than worry. You remind yourself that you cannot control everything, but you can always control how you think, how you respond, and how you act. Over time, this habit transforms your relationship with challenges. Problems no longer feel like personal attacks. They become situations where you can practice patience, intelligence, and discipline. This is the essence of Stoic mental strength. The world may remain unpredictable, but your mind becomes steady. And a steady mind is one of the greatest forms of power a person can possess. One of the most misunderstood practices in Stoic philosophy is something known as negative visualization. At first glance, the idea sounds pessimistic. Why would anyone begin the day by imagining problems, setbacks, or difficulties? Wouldn't this create unnecessary anxiety? The Stoics believed the opposite. They discovered that by calmly thinking about potential challenges in advance, the mind becomes stronger, more resilient, and far less likely to panic when difficulties actually arise. Most people move through life assuming that things will go according to their plans. They expect their schedules to remain intact, their relationships to remain smooth, and their efforts to produce predictable results. When reality disrupts these expectations, frustration quickly follows. A small inconvenience suddenly feels like a major disaster because the mind was not prepared for it. Stoic philosophers understood that reality rarely follows perfect plans. Life includes delays, misunderstandings, failures, and unexpected changes. Instead of pretending these challenges will not occur, the Stoics deliberately prepared for them. This preparation was not meant to create fear, but to create emotional stability. The Roman Stoic thinker Seneca frequently advised his students to mentally rehearse adversity. He believed that a person who occasionally reflects on possible difficulties becomes far less vulnerable to shock and disappointment. When the mind has already imagined obstacles, it recognizes them as part of life, rather than as unfair interruptions. Negative visualization works because it changes your expectations. When people expect life to be perfectly comfortable, even small problems feel unbearable. But when you accept that challenges are natural, those same problems become manageable. The mind remains calm because it understands that difficulties are part of the process. This Stoic practice often begins in the morning. Before the day becomes busy, you take a few moments to imagine situations that might test your patience or discipline. Perhaps a plan will fail, someone might criticize you, or something unexpected might disrupt your routine. Instead of reacting emotionally to these possibilities, you observe them calmly and consider how you would respond with reason and self-control. The purpose of this exercise is not to dwell on negativity. Instead, it strengthens the mind by removing the illusion that life must always go smoothly. When the mind accepts uncertainty, it becomes more flexible and adaptable. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius practiced a similar form of mental preparation. In his personal writings, he reminded himself that he would encounter difficult people throughout the day. Some individuals might act selfishly, impatiently, or dishonestly. Instead of being surprised by this behavior, he prepared himself to meet it with calm understanding. By doing this, Marcus Aurelius prevented his emotions from being controlled by others. When someone behaved poorly, he did not react with anger or frustration. Instead, he remembered that he had already anticipated such behavior. This allowed him to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Negative visualization also strengthens gratitude. When you occasionally imagine losing something valuable, your health, opportunities, or relationships, you begin to appreciate them more deeply while they are still present. Many people only value what they have after it disappears. The Stoics wanted to experience gratitude before loss occurs. This shift in perspective changes the way you experience everyday life. Instead of taking things for granted, you become more aware of their temporary nature. A quiet morning, meaningful work, supportive relationships, and personal progress all become more significant when you remember that nothing in life is guaranteed. The Greek Stoic teacher Epictetus taught that attachment to permanence is one of the main causes of suffering. When people believe that good circumstances will last forever, they are devastated when change inevitably occurs. But when you accept that life constantly evolves, you become mentally prepared for transformation. Negative visualization helps cultivate this acceptance. It gently reminds you that challenges are not signs that life is unfair. They are natural events that every human being encounters. By reflecting on them calmly in advance, you remove much of their emotional impact. Another important benefit of this practice is increased courage. When people avoid thinking about difficulties, they often feel unprepared and fearful when those difficulties appear. The unknown becomes intimidating because the mind has never examined it closely. But when you mentally explore challenges in a calm and rational way, they lose much of their power. Your imagination becomes a training ground where you practice resilience. You begin to see that many problems are not as overwhelming as they first appear. This type of preparation is similar to how experienced athletes train. They visualize challenging situations before competitions so that their minds are ready to respond effectively. When the real moment arrives, their reactions feel familiar rather than frightening. Stoic philosophers applied the same principle to everyday life. By imagining potential obstacles each morning, they strengthened their emotional discipline. When real challenges appeared, they were able to remain calm because their minds had already practiced responding wisely. However, the Stoics also warned that this exercise should be brief and balanced. The goal is not to spend long periods worrying about possible disasters. Instead, it is a short reflection designed to prepare the mind and strengthen perspective. After considering potential challenges, the Stoic shifts focus back to action. The purpose of negative visualization is not to dwell on problems, but to remind yourself that you have the ability to face them with strength and clarity. When practiced regularly, this habit creates a remarkable psychological advantage. Unexpected events no longer feel like personal attacks. They become situations you have already considered and prepared for. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with calm reasoning. Over time, the mind begins to trust itself more deeply. You realize that even if circumstances become difficult, you possess the mental tools to handle them. This realization is one of the foundations of Stoic confidence. It is not the fragile confidence that depends on perfect conditions. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can remain steady even when conditions are imperfect. By starting the morning with a brief moment of negative visualization, you train your mind to expect reality rather than fantasy. You accept that the day may contain challenges, but you also remind yourself that you have the discipline to meet them. This balance between realism and strength creates a powerful mindset. Life may not always go according to your plans, but your mind can always remain prepared, and a prepared mind is far more difficult for the world to disturb. One of the central teachings of Stoic philosophy is that events themselves do not disturb us. Instead, it is our reactions to those events that determine whether we remain calm or become overwhelmed. This insight may appear simple, but it has profound consequences for mental discipline. If external events were truly responsible for our emotional state, then peace of mind would be impossible. Life is full of unpredictable situations, difficult people, and unexpected challenges. But the Stoics believed that the real source of disturbance lies within the mind, not outside of it. The Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus explained this principle clearly. According to him, people are not upset by things themselves, but by the opinions they form about those things. When something unpleasant happens, the mind quickly interprets the situation. It labels the event as unfair, frustrating, embarrassing, or threatening. These judgments trigger emotional reactions such as anger, fear, or resentment. Yet the event itself remains neutral until the mind assigns meaning to it. Understanding this distinction is the beginning of true mental discipline. If you learn to examine your interpretations before reacting, you gain the ability to control your emotional responses. This does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending that difficulties do not exist. Instead, it means creating a small space between the event and your reaction. In that space, reason has the opportunity to guide your behavior. Morning is the ideal time to remind yourself of this Stoic principle. When you begin the day with the intention of mastering your reactions, you prepare your mind for situations that might otherwise provoke frustration. You recognize that challenges will arise, but you also remember that your response remains within your control. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius frequently reflected on this idea in his personal writings. Despite governing an empire filled with political tensions and conflicts, he reminded himself that external events could not harm his character unless he allowed them to do so. For Marcus Aurelius, the true measure of strength was not the absence of difficulties, but the ability to respond to them with wisdom and self-control. Consider how this principle works in everyday life. Imagine someone speaks to you in a disrespectful tone. The immediate reaction might be anger or defensiveness. Your mind may interpret the situation as a personal attack. But the Stoic approach encourages a different perspective. Instead of reacting instantly, you pause and examine the event more carefully. Perhaps the person is frustrated about something unrelated to you. Perhaps they are dealing with stress or misunderstanding. By questioning your initial interpretation, you weaken the emotional intensity of the moment. This allows you to respond calmly rather than escalating the situation. In many cases, a thoughtful response can transform what might have become a conflict into a moment of understanding. The Roman Stoic writer Seneca believed that anger is one of the most destructive emotions because it temporarily removes the mind's ability to reason. When anger takes control, people say and do things they later regret. Seneca described anger as a kind of temporary madness that pushes individuals toward impulsive behavior. The Stoic solution was not to eliminate emotion completely, but to slow down the process that leads from event to reaction. By practicing awareness, you learn to recognize the first signs of emotional disturbance before they grow stronger. Once you notice those signals, you can choose a more deliberate response. One useful technique is to mentally reframe the situation. Instead of thinking, "This should not be happening," you remind yourself that difficulties are a normal part of life. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "How can I respond to this wisely?" This small shift in thinking transforms frustration into an opportunity for practice. Mastering your reactions also strengthens your reputation and relationships. People who respond calmly under pressure are often respected and trusted. Their stability makes others feel safe and confident. In contrast, individuals who react impulsively create tension and uncertainty in their environment. The Stoics believe that a disciplined mind becomes a source of stability, not only for itself but also for others. When you maintain composure during stressful situations, you influence the emotional atmosphere around you. Your calm presence can reduce conflict and encourage more thoughtful conversations. Another benefit of mastering your reactions is increased personal freedom. When your emotions are constantly triggered by external events, your mood becomes dependent on circumstances. A small inconvenience can ruin an entire day, while praise from others temporarily lifts your spirits. But when you develop control over your reactions, your inner state becomes more stable. You are no longer pushed and pulled by every external event. Instead, you carry a sense of balance that remains steady even when circumstances change. This form of emotional independence was highly valued by Stoic philosophers. They believed that the most powerful person is not the one who controls others, but the one who controls their own mind. When you master your reactions, you demonstrate a level of discipline that cannot be taken away by external events. However, achieving this level of control requires consistent practice. No one becomes emotionally disciplined overnight. Every day provides opportunities to practice. Small frustrations, unexpected delays, and disagreements all become training exercises for the mind. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, you begin to see them as chances to strengthen your character. Over time, this habit creates remarkable resilience. Situations that once triggered anger or anxiety lose much of their power. You begin to respond more thoughtfully, communicate more effectively, and maintain clarity even under pressure. By starting each morning with the intention to master your reactions, you prepare yourself for these moments. You remind yourself that while you cannot control everything that happens today, you can always control how you respond. This awareness gradually transforms your relationship with challenges. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you become an active participant in shaping your experience. And as this discipline grows, your mind becomes calmer, stronger, and far more difficult for the world to disturb. True discipline is not created in a single moment of motivation. It is built through quiet daily decisions that gradually shape the mind into something stronger. The Stoic philosophers understood this deeply. They did not believe that wisdom or self-control appeared suddenly through inspiration. Instead, they believed discipline was the result of consistent practice repeated every single day. When you look at the teachings of the Stoics as a whole, a pattern becomes clear. Their philosophy was not meant to remain in books or conversations. It was meant to be practiced in ordinary life. The morning was especially important because it set the tone for everything that followed. A distracted morning often led to a distracted day, but a focused morning created momentum that carried discipline forward. The Roman emperor and Stoic thinker Marcus Aurelius understood this principle better than most. Despite ruling an empire and facing enormous political pressure, he constantly reminded himself that every day begins with a choice. The choice is simple but powerful. You can either allow circumstances to control your mindset, or you can deliberately shape your mindset before circumstances appear. Marcus Aurelius believed that a person should rise each morning with a clear awareness of their role in the world. Instead of asking whether the day would be comfortable or easy, he asked how he could fulfill his responsibilities with integrity and strength. This perspective transformed ordinary tasks into meaningful opportunities to practice virtue. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, taught that the key to freedom lies in mastering the mind. According to him, a person who cannot control their thoughts, impulses, and reactions will always feel trapped by external events. Morning discipline is the beginning of this independence. When you wake up and consciously decide how you will think and act, you reclaim authority over your own life. Over time, this simple practice produces powerful changes. At first, waking up with intention may feel difficult. The mind naturally seeks comfort and ease, but every time you choose discipline over comfort, you reinforce a new pattern. The brain begins to associate mornings with clarity and purpose rather than hesitation and distraction. Slowly, what once felt difficult becomes natural. The Roman philosopher Seneca often warned that time is the most valuable resource humans possess, yet many people treat time carelessly, especially during the first hours of the day. Seneca believed that a wise person guards their time carefully. Each morning becomes a chance to invest attention in meaningful action. When you protect the early hours of the day, you create space for reflection, planning, and purposeful effort. This approach gradually transforms the way you experience life. Another powerful benefit of morning discipline is emotional stability. You begin to recognize that not every problem deserves your emotional energy. Some situations simply require patience, while others require thoughtful action. By starting the day with mental clarity, you develop the ability to distinguish between the two. Stoic philosophy ultimately teaches that discipline is a form of self-respect. Each morning becomes a reminder that you are responsible for shaping your character. Circumstances may influence your path, but they do not define your choices. Your habits, your thoughts, and your actions remain within your control. This realization is empowering. It means that no matter what happened yesterday, today offers a new opportunity to strengthen your discipline. Mistakes from the past do not determine the future. The Stoics believed that greatness is not built through dramatic moments of heroism, but through ordinary moments of discipline repeated consistently. Over months and years, these small decisions accumulate into something powerful. Your mindset becomes steadier. Your actions become more focused. Your confidence grows because you know you can rely on your own discipline. Eventually, the morning routine that once required effort becomes part of who you are. You wake up not because motivation forces you, but because discipline has become natural. The mind expects clarity, preparation, and purpose. At that point, the world begins to feel different. Challenges still exist, but they no longer control your emotional state. Distractions still appear, but they lose their ability to dominate your attention.